Caitlyn Clark put on a show. Assist, balling, bruh, on a whole nother level. I'm telling you right now, they need to sign this CBA. I want to see more.
Caitlyn Clark just pulled off another incredible performance, and Team USA Music still kept her on the bench. So here's the question right from the jump. Did Team USA make a huge mistake sitting Caitlyn Clark again? Yes or no? Because after what she just did against Italy, that question is impossible to ignore.
That is some diabolical, nasty-ass work from USA Basketball. By the way, I don't know if you guys realize exactly how competitive this game could have been if it wasn't for a first quarter where USA Basketball jumped out to a big lead, because the second and third quarter was not the blowout anybody thought it might be. Oh, and once again, the brand of basketball, tough to watch. Tough to watch. In case you did not realize this, Caitlyn Clark did not start again. But judging by the response, everybody noticed.
Team USA dominated Italy 93-59. On paper, it looks straightforward, another easy win, another solid showing, another step forward in FIA Music qualifying. But if you watch this matchup closely, the real story isn't just that the United States came out on top. The real story is that Caitlyn Clark stepped onto the court once again, instantly shifted the momentum, and delivered with remarkable efficiency.
Team USA came out there and put the beats on them, bro. But we have to talk about Caitlyn Clark. Now, Caitlyn Clark had about 12 points, but overall, logo threes from way downtown. She got it in the day, bro. And, I love performances like this from C.
And yet, she was still treated like a sixth player. Instead of the star you build the whole game around. And this is starting to feel like a pattern. Coming into this game, all eyes were already on Clark. In her Team USA debut against Senegal, she exploded and looked completely at ease right from the start. Against Puerto Rico, the bigger question shifted to her role. Fans were asking why the offense didn't run through her more consistently, why she was still coming off the bench, and why a player who can change the pace so quickly still seemed held back. Naturally, everyone was watching the Italy game for the same reason. Would Clark finally start? Would Team USA finally give her the reins? Would this be the game where she could just play freely? No, Clark came off the bench once again. And what happened next is exactly why this debate keeps heating up. She checked in about 4 minutes into the first quarter and scored immediately.
Fico. Clark off the brief screen. Sidestep, deep three!
Not later, not after warming up, not after settling in. Right away. That is what sets Caitlyn Clark apart. She doesn't need a long runway to impact the game. She steps on the court, and the pressure shifts instantly. By the end of the first quarter, she already had 7 points. 7 points off the bench in a single quarter. That's not just a spark, not just energy that is immediate offensive impact. And when that keeps happening over and over, fans naturally ask the obvious question. If Caitlyn Clark can change games this fast, why does Team USA continue to limit her role? This wasn't just a flashy first quarter. Clark finished with 12 points, 5 assists, and 1 rebound in just over 21 minutes, shooting 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. That is efficient, calm, and productive basketball. She isn't forcing bad shots or struggling to find her place. That matters, because sometimes a bench role is easy to explain. Maybe the player is cold, maybe the coach doesn't fully trust the decision-making yet, maybe the fit is awkward, or the player is trying to do too much, but none of that applies here. Clark is producing. She is making smart reads, stretching defenses, creating shots, giving the team pace and flow, and still, her role doesn't change. That's why this story grows after every game. The Italy matchup made it even clearer. Team USA jumped out early and never let Italy get comfortable, leading 28-11 after the first quarter, 50-30 at halftime, and 69-45 after 3. This was a strong performance by a deep, talented team. Veterans like Chelsea Gray and Kalia Copper contributed, and Team USA controlled the game like a powerhouse should, but that only makes the Clark question louder. If the game is under control and Clark is producing efficiently, and she has already proven she can run the offense, then what is stopping Team USA from giving her more? That's the disconnect fans keep seeing. The role doesn't match the impact. Once you notice it, it becomes impossible to ignore, because Caitlyn Clark isn't just a microwave scorer off the bench. She isn't a player who comes in for a quick burst and disappears. Her value is far bigger. She changes the geometry of the floor. Defenders have to pick her up earlier, passing lanes open, teammates get cleaner looks, pace increases, and the whole shape of the game tilts. These short bursts stand out because they aren't random hot streaks. They're reminders of what happens when she is allowed to impose herself on the game. That's why the bench role feels smaller than the reality of her impact. To be fair, Team USA is still winning easily. The roster is loaded. Tournaments involve experimenting with lineups, spreading minutes, and testing combinations. In this game, Carol Lawson wasn't even on the sideline, with Nate Tibbetts handling head coaching duties. All of that is true, but the core issue remains. Caitlyn Clark keeps proving she can handle more. Not less, more ball handling responsibility, more time with the starters, more freedom to play fast, more trust to shape the offense early, instead of entering late and having to prove herself in short bursts. The question is no longer whether she belongs at this level that is settled. It's no longer whether her game translates internationally. It does. And it's no longer whether she can make an impact in limited minutes. She clearly can. The only real question now is this. If Caitlyn Clark keeps changing games this fast, how long can Team USA keep pretending this is just a normal bench situation? That tension grew even stronger in the Italy game. Clark came in, scored quickly, finished efficiently, handed out 5 assists, helped keep the Americans in control, and yet the headline remained the same. She did it again, and Team USA still benched her. This isn't about Team USA playing poorly, the win being unconvincing, or the roster lacking talent. It's about the same pattern repeating. Clark's impact flashes at a level bigger than the role she's given, and once a pattern shows up 3 straight times, it stops feeling accidental. That's why fans keep reacting and why this story isn't going away. Every game ends the same way. Clark delivers another burst, you can feel the game tilt when she's involved, and then Team USA reverts to treating her like a luxury instead of the player who changes everything. So I'll ask again, did Team USA make the wrong call by benching Caitlyn Clark again? Yes or no? Drop "Start Clark" in the comments if you agree.
As Team USA comes back the other way, looking to punish, Caitlyn Clark pulls up from deep. And those are the Caitlyn Clark logo threes we're used to seeing.
Caitlyn Clark did something that caught a lot of people off guard. She came off the bench again for the 2nd straight game. After exploding in her Team USA debut with 17 points and 12 assists, she still wasn't in the starting lineup against Puerto Rico, and that decision is starting to spark conversation. After the first game, many fans assumed the bench role was temporary, just easing her in, managing minutes, giving the veterans the first run. But when the starting lineup was announced for the Puerto Rico game, Clark's name still wasn't there. Paige Buckers, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Kiki Irian, and Monique Billings all started, while Caitlyn Clark remained on the bench. That raises a real question. Is Team USA intentionally holding Clark back, or are they planning to have her run the second unit? Before we dive into that, let me ask you something. Should Caitlyn Clark be starting for Team USA right now? Drop a yes or no in the comments, because the reaction to this decision is only getting louder. Here's what happened in the game. Team USA faced Puerto Rico in San Juan as part of the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament. This matchup was different from the Senegal game. Puerto Rico was the host. The crowd was fully behind them, and early on, Team USA relied heavily on its starters. Kelsey Plum got going right away, Paige Buckers started finding her rhythm, and Kiki Irian was perfect from the field. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark waited, watching from the bench once again. Eventually, she checked into the game. Intro 6. And just like the first game, the moment she stepped on the court, things changed. The pace shifted, spacing opened up, and the defense suddenly had to respect her range. Clark didn't have the same scoring explosion. This time her 3-point shot took a little longer to fall. At one point, she even jammed her finger after missing a deep 3, but then came one of the most exciting plays of the night. Clark jumped a passing lane, stole the ball, and went coast to coast for a layup and won.
Of course, agendas had to be pushed. Caitlyn Clark started the game on her bench. Angel Reese gets the start. Ka Copper, Chelsea Gray, Dearica Hamby, Chelsea Gray. You know what a real vet would do? A real vet would say, you know what? Here's my spot. I ain't competing with that. You know what? We're a better team if you take my spot and I try to fit in where I can get it.
And like the first game, the moment she entered, something interesting happened. The pace changed, the spacing opened up, and the defense had to start paying attention to her range. Clark didn't have the same scoring explosion this time. Her 3-point shot took a little longer to fall. At one point, she even jammed her finger after missing a deep 3. But then came one of the most interesting plays of the night. Clark jumped a passing lane, intercepted the ball, and went coast to coast. Layup and won.
Turn the corner. Brianna Jones. Caitlyn Clark gets in the passing lane, goes coast to coast for the and one opportunity. Makes the layup off the glass. She asked her teammates to that go in. Now she gets a chance at the foul line. She wanted the intentional thing. She got hit in the head there, but let's take another look. Caitlyn Clark jumps the passing lane.
After the play, cameras caught her looking surprised and saying something that actually made a lot of fans laugh. She looked up and asked, "Did that go in?" That moment summed up the night. Clark didn't dominate the box score like the first game, but she still found ways to impact the game. Later in the third quarter, she pulled up from way beyond the three-point line. Logo range, nothing but net.
As Team USA comes back the other way, looking to punish. Caitlyn Clark pulls up from deep. And those are the Caitlyn Clark logo threes we're used to seeing when she's in.
Cameras caught her looking surprised and saying something that had a lot of fans laughing. She looked up and asked, "Did that go in?" That moment pretty much summed up the night. Clark didn't dominate the box score like she did in the first game, but she still found ways to impact the matchup. Later in the third quarter, she pulled up from way beyond the three-point line logo range, and it went nothing but net.
Left to go in the first. Billings up to Clark. Clark takes her first shot. And it's a three, and it is good. Caitlyn Clark on the move, over to Billings. Billings on the left-hand side.
That kind of shot makes every defense panic the moment she crosses half court. By the time the game reached the fourth quarter, Team USA was in full control, cruising to a comfortable win. Paige Buckers finished with 16 points, Kelsey Plum added 12, and Angel Reese recorded her first Team USA double-double with 10 points and 13 rebounds. But once again, one of the biggest talking points after the game wasn't the final score, it was Caitlyn Clark's role. Because she still didn't start, and now that has happened in both games of this tournament. So, what's really going on? There are a few possible explanations. The first is simple. Coach Carol Lawson may just be experimenting. Team USA has already qualified for the 2026 World Cup, so these games are more about chemistry and lineup combinations than must-win results. Another possibility is minutes management. Clark is coming back after missing significant time with an injury, so the coaching staff may simply be easing her workload back up. But there's also a third possibility that a lot of basketball fans recognize immediately. Sometimes the most dangerous player on the team is the one who comes off the bench. When Clark enters the game, she often faces second units, and that can make the offense explode. That's exactly what happened in her first game, and it's something Team USA may be trying to replicate. Still, the conversation isn't going away, because Caitlyn Clark isn't just another player, she's one of the most impactful offensive creators in the sport. And when fans see her producing at that level, they naturally start asking questions. Should she be starting? Or is this bench role actually the smartest move for Team USA right now? Let me know what you think. Should Caitlyn Clark be in the starting lineup? Or do you like seeing her come off the bench and take over the game that way? Drop yes or no in the comments, and if you're still watching, drop Clark off the bench, so I know you made it all the way through. This story isn't over yet. Team USA still has more games in the tournament, and the big question remains, will Caitlyn Clark stay on the bench, or is a starting spot coming next? She exploded in her Team USA debut with 17 points, 12 assists, and 4 three-pointers in just 19 minutes. But here's what surprised everyone: she didn't start. She came off the bench. So again, I ask you, should Caitlyn Clark be starting for Team USA? Drop your answer in the comments right now, because after what just happened, this debate is about to get loud. Here's how it all unfolded. Team USA opened the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifying tournament in San Juan, Puerto Rico, against Senegal. The United States entered the game ranked number 1 in the world, while Senegal came in at 25. But even with that gap, the biggest story before tip-off wasn't the rankings, it was Caitlyn Clark making her senior Team USA debut. This was a long-awaited debut for Clark, coming off an injury-affected WNBA season, where she played just 13 games. When the starting lineup was announced, fans immediately noticed Clark wasn't in it. Team USA started Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, Dara Hammy, Angel Reese, and Jackie Young, while Clark began on the bench. That decision instantly caught attention because this isn't just any player, this is Caitlyn Clark, one of the most talked about players in the sport. Halfway through the first quarter, Clark checked in, and the moment she stepped on the floor, everything changed. Within minutes, she had already scored 5 points, delivered 4 assists, and Team USA's offense suddenly looked faster, sharper, and more dangerous. Intro 9. By the end of the first quarter, the Americans already had a 17-point lead. Senegal struggled to find any rhythm as Team USA's defense forced turnovers and shut down nearly every good look. The second quarter only widened the gap, and by halftime, the score was 59-19. The United States was shooting 70% from the field and 71% from three. Right in the middle of that dominance was Caitlyn Clark, already posting 8 points and 8 assists on double-double watch in her very first Team USA game. The second half didn't slow down either. Clark continued orchestrating the offense, finding open shooters, and every time she pulled up from deep, the defense had to respect it. By the end of the third quarter, the score was 82-36, and Clark already had 12 assists. Meanwhile, frustration boiled over for Senegal, and their head coach, Jake Sarr, was ejected after receiving back-to-back technical fouls. Intro 10. Nothing seemed to slow Team USA down. Their defense forced 20 turnovers, and their offense couldn't miss. By the final whistle, the scoreboard told the full story. Team USA 110, Senegal 46, a 6-4-point victory to open the tournament. Clark finished with 17 points and 12 assists in just 19 minutes. Every field goal she made came from beyond the three-point line, going 4 for 5 from deep. Intro 11. She also went a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line, recording her first international double-double in her very first game with the senior national team. Atlanta Dream guard Ryan Howard led all scorers with 21 points, while Angel Reese added 6 points and 8 rebounds. But the biggest story of the night wasn't the final score, it was what happened when Caitlyn Clark stepped on the floor. The offense instantly looked different, faster, more spaced out, more explosive. Which brings us back to the question that started before the game even tipped off. Why isn't Caitlyn Clark starting for Team USA? Maybe the coaching staff is managing her minutes after injuries. Maybe they want to ease her back into full competition. Or maybe they're experimenting with different lineups during these qualifiers. But when a player can produce 17 points and 12 assists in less than 20 minutes, it's hard not to notice. So now the conversation begins. Should Caitlyn Clark be starting for Team USA? Or is bringing her off the bench the right move for now? Let me know in the comments. And if you're still watching, drop Clark17 in the comments so I know you made it all the way through. Seriously, should Caitlyn Clark be starting, or is the bench role the smart decision for the moment?